Joel, we're back and we are talking about bank accounts. Now, this seems like a pretty dry topic, but you're giving me that look.
Like the desert dry?
I did bring a glass of water.
This is something that a lot of business owners don't think about when they first start their business, is having separate business accounts for separate things. Recently in the paper, I have seen somewhere between 4 and 5 people in the cleaning industry over the past, say, 6 months that have gotten arrested, tried, convicted of sales tax evasion.
Yeah.
And it does not apply to cleaning companies. It could happen in any industry, but it's what you do with the money as you collect it, which is so important. And so many business owners put it into one checking account because they want to see that number rise, and they're all excited when they see 5, 6, 7 figures in their bank account. But when really you should be breaking it up into some subcategories. How it works for myself: all my inflows go into an operating account. Once that money has cleared, anything that I take in that has sales tax attached to it, I immediately take that amount of money out from all those invoices and I remove that into a sales tax account so that it sits there and you don't touch it, because that's the government's money. Right. And you don't want to mess with the government. Ew. Because when you mess with the government, they come a knocking.
They have no sense of humor about that, Joel.
They don't. They really don't. So this is one way that you can assure that they are not going to come a knocking, because you are going to pull their money out and set it aside first.
Yes.
Now, in a lot of cases, our staff members get paid weekly. Well, out of that operating, you have to pull out the payroll for each week. So you need to make sure that money comes out of there, because they're the people that have to get paid first.
Got it.
Then I also have subcontractor accounts. Not that I use a lot of them, but early on in my business career, I got some money in. I owed some other bills. I wrote money against money that came in that I owed to another subcontractor. And then guess what happened?
Oh, you were a little short.
I was a little short because the checks I expected to come in didn't come in, and I didn't have the money to pull for the subcontractor. So after that little scare and calling that person and falling on the proverbial sword and saying, I'm sorry, I've got 95% of your money, give me another week and I'll have the rest. So now when I get a receivable in and I move the sales tax, the next thing I do is I move what money is owed to that subcontractor. Right. It sits in that bank account, and that money doesn't get touched other than to write the check to ABC company.
Smart.
And savings accounts. Well, why is that important to a cleaning company?
Joel, why is that important to a cleaning company?
I'm glad you asked me, Ray. A savings account, you have to put the money aside for several reasons. But there's a joke that you are not in business until you've been sued. At some point, you're going to have to contact and pay an attorney for something. Yeah. The other thing that you need to do is you have to have money set aside for payroll when you take on new accounts. And rather than borrowing against a line of credit, having some savings that can be contributed over to pay for that payroll money is important. And then paying it back when you get paid, you take that piece and you put it back into the savings account. And the other reason why it's important is when you start new accounts, you probably need new equipment. Yeah. Having money that's being set aside for this new equipment, having a savings account, and obviously if you're going to pull money out of there, you have to remember to eventually put money back into it, because what happens when you go to the well too many times, it becomes dry and barren like that desert. That is what I'm trying to do, is help people out to understand that you don't want just one bank account. You may break up your money even further than that, but those are probably the key ones that you should have to start.
Well, Joel, credits to you. This is a pretty juicy topic. It's something that's really easy for any business owner to do, just stubbing their toe on that because they didn't pay attention.
Yeah, and when you talk to a bank, if you tell them what you're trying to do and what you're trying to set up, they usually will tell you, here, put $100 in. You have several accounts, but put $100 into each account just to open it. Yep. And then as the money flows and goes into the accounts and outflows out, they get it, they see what's happening, and they appreciate the fact that you're using the accounts as well.
Yeah. Good advice, Joel. Thank you.
You're welcome.